It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy, coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, 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 go!
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
We'll take our next question from Mark Dakotas, Florida Today.
Jimmie, thanks for your time today. I've seen a lot of the off-road truck racing on TV, living on the East Coast. There doesn't seem to be anything that would translate over to NASCAR, but obviously it has. Can you talk a little bit about what you've taken, if anything, from that to NASCAR, and how it's helped?
You're right. There's not much. At the end of the day, racing's racing. I think that line selection makes a big difference in our cars. In stock car racing, and certainly on dirt, it's a big part of it. But the asphalt gets slick like a racetrack, like a dirt track does, and you've got to search around to find grip. So I find that helps me. I also find that how uncomfortable you are on an off-road truck because you're never hooked up, and by the time you get the truck straight again, there's a jump and you're airborne. I find that growing up in that environment has really slowed everything down for me in a cup car and makes things I don't know, it's a little easier to adapt to uncomfortable situations because I've been in very uncomfortable situations in the past. So, I look at those three things and think that it helps me. But I had a huge learning curve to go through when I went stock car racing. And my first season ever in a stock car was in '98, racing in the ASA series. And I didn't know what a track bar was because we didn't have one on an off-road truck. Wedge never meant anything to me. Nose weight. Changing your spring rates to make the car turn. I didn't worry about any of that. And we put springs on the truck and developed them and got it to handle over the bumps, and that was it. And we made a few shock changes throughout the season to help it get over the bumps, but you never worried about the corners. And 98 and 99 were big learning years for me. And truthfully, all the way up until maybe a year or two ago, I was still learning at a high rate of speed. I'm still learning today. But all the way up into my Cup career, this is now, I guess, my 10th season in a stock car, and it's been a fast road to hoe and to figure out what goes on with these stock cars.
We'll move to our next question from Reagan Swan, NASCAR.com.
Hi, Jimmie. This is completely unrelated to anything we've talked about. I just want to prepare you. I talked to PJ at Alpine Star and doing a story about your Firesuit. I just kind of want to know what is important to you about your Firesuit and your gloves. And since you've been working out a lot, you've gained some muscle mass, and they've had to change it a lot. So just what goes into that Firesuit that you wear?
Well, first and foremost, my deal with helmets and suits, I have a relationship with Alpine Star, but I want to make sure that I'm not under a contract with any of the suppliers because I want to wear what is the safest stuff that can be offered to any driver. And Alpine Stars has done an amazing job of providing me with that stuff. Custom-built shoes, the gloves, the suits. Their attention to detail has been really amazing. And they've been willing to develop and make stuff more comfortable and safer at the same time. So I really commend Alpine Stars for the job that they've done, and always being so flexible and making the stuff look good and different. And then at the same time, and the most important thing is that it's always the safest stuff out there.
And as a reminder to our audience, if you'd like to ask a question, please press *1 at this time. We'll take our next question from Claire Lane, XM Radio.
Thank you. Jimmie, I'm intrigued by your comment after the race about that you had to take some chances that you didn't want to have to take. And that really separates, probably will separate in this chase the champion from the wannabe champion, but it also separates smart from not so smart. Can you talk about the line of having to take those chances and how you make the decision of how far you're going to push that area to win the championship?
Well, you just know from inside the car that how the car's driving, and as a driver, you know where the limits are of the vehicle and what speed it can run. And the comfortable speed of the car was well off the pace where we needed to be. And I had a great opportunity on that last restart, starting second, and I just couldn't pass it up. I thought we had a shot at winning. I took a lot of risks to get by Burton and almost lost the car a few times, and decided to settle in and try to regroup and go back after him. And I thought for a while there I had a second shot at him, but then my car kept fading and other guys got to me. Then at that point I'm watching the 16 get closer and the 31 get further away, and a lot of points are coming and going, and I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to make points up on everyone last weekend, and especially taking advantage of that great pit stop and strategy that we had. So I found the racer in me pushing harder than I probably needed to. I had a couple big moments where I had to save the car and collect my thoughts and have a good talk to myself about what was on the line, but at the same time I'm slipping backwards. So I've got to walk that tightrope of taking just enough risk and not busting my butt. So that was the balance that I really had to deal with the last, I'd say, 3 or 4 stops of the race. We made some adjustments, probably 3 or 4 stops from the end, that got the car really, really hard to drive. And I lost some track position, which hurt that as well, but we couldn't take the time on the pit stop to adjust the car back. I just had to deal with it. And looking back at what I had to deal with, we did a good job of pulling off a 6, but at the same time I was frustrated that I had to take so much risk, and the fact that we missed a chance to gain some points.
We'll take our next question from Jason Schoellen, NASCAR.com.
Hey, Jimmy. With your recent success at Martinsville, I guess you've kind of received the nickname Mr. Martinsville. Looking at your chase success over the final chase races of the season, the final 5 chase races of the season, if you look at those and throw out your 40th place finish at Homestead in 05 when you blew the tire, your average finish is 3.6. Why is this team so successful at this time of year?
I don't know. They're good tracks for us. We seem to have our stuff refined and put together. I think that Chad's focus, my focus, the physical strength of the team, and myself, I mean, across the board, everybody's ready for these final 10, and it's a long, grueling season. And you've got to have physical strength, mental strength, an organized race team, an organized company to throw everything at these final 10. And our guys, the longer the race, the longer the season, the more grueling it is, the better we perform. And that's just the 48 team. And I'm very proud of that. And it's not something that just showed up for us. It's something we've had to work for. And we're working to maintain that again this year, and hopefully we can.
We'll move to our next question from Dwight Drum, Racetake.com.
Hi, Jimmy. Some drivers, some athletes, think getting butterflies before a race or a big playoff game, that those butterflies are unavoidable and even helpful. Do you agree?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I certainly go through a variety of emotions, from butterflies to worried about what the day holds, what could happen, and I find a lot of that stuff to be helpful and to prepare me for whatever situation may come up during the day. I think a lot of times my mind thinks back to past events and mistakes that I've made, or things that have gone on with the team, or maybe areas where somebody had an advantage on us, and I start getting worried about those things, get nervous about them, butterflies, and then communicate it with my team, and also think it through on my end, the stuff that I can control, and I use that to make sure I'm as prepared as possible for each race.